Good afternoon and welcome to this weekly market update from AGM Markets. Today is the 8th of August 2013. What we'll do today is go through some technical analysis on Euro Dollar, Cable, Dollar Swiss Dollar Yen, Dollar CAD, the Aussie and Gold. We'll not make any trade calls recommendations in this video. You trade at your own risk. If you could please read our full disclaimer on our website www.agmmarkets.com. For anyone who follows, we have 3 moving averages on each of these charts. The red one is a 50 simple moving average, the purple is 100 simple, and the gold is a 200 simple. So yeah, it's just going to review what's been going on in the markets, try and give some sort of outlook for the rest of the week, and yeah, just go through any sort of interesting setups that I think will influence a few of the pairs going on in the next sort of week to 2 weeks. Okay, and this is the Euro Dollar. It's been purely in terms of this sort of overall daily chart. It's been very choppy, just trading in between this sort of broad range here. But for the last sort of month, it has been just grinding higher up here. We've been waiting for the sort of retracement. Maybe a lot of people have been waiting for some sort of retracement down here. I'll just draw this up for you. So for example, here it started to spike here. I would have thought it would have come all the way down to maybe the 50%. I think we spoke about this in the last video, but it didn't quite get down there. It's just been really grinding higher. Yeah, remember we had those the weak US NFP figures last Friday, weak numbers. So that's kept the whole sort of the whole tapering thing on hold for the minute. And just making the US dollar weaker, and the euro's just been loving it. And there's also been some good Eurozone data as well. We had some data out of Germany yesterday, some more good data. So it's just been grinding higher. In terms of key fib that I'm keeping my eye on, is this big one here. So that's from the 1.37 highs to the 127 highs. We're currently floating around the 61.8 at the minute. We had that spike there. That held for a very brief period, and we've come back up and we're currently above it. So I mean, a daily candle close above this 61.8, and the level next to it, which I'll just draw up. I should draw the 78.6 on a second. I don't know what's not on there. So yeah, if we get a daily candle close above, and also the key resistance really is here at let's call it the 134 handle. So that's the 134.00, and then the 78.6 would be the next one in play. But yeah, it's the key sort of line in the sand for the rest of the week, in my opinion, is that 134 handle. If we get above that, then it really can grind high towards that 78.6 fib, which stands at the 135.05 level. But yeah, if it starts to retrace for whatever reason, then the fib I'll be looking out for is this one here. So from these highs, so from these lows to wherever it peaks out. So currently it's around here. And that's pretty much it on the euro dollar really. Another thing you do have is the trendline resistance, which got broken. It pierced it here, closed below, came back down briefly, and then we've got this yesterday daily close, official candle close above, and it's now grinding higher. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the euro dollar. Cable, it's all about this trendline resistance here, so similar to euro dollar. We can bring it in maybe a bit there to the closes. You can say it's testing around now, or you can bring it out for safety. But yeah, it's around this level at the minute, so keep an eye out on that. A fib that has been interesting, was interesting last week, was this one here. So from these lows to that high there, if you just draw it out wider so you can see a bit clearer, we got a lovely bounce off of the 50% retracement. It briefly pierced it, closed pretty much on the level, and then the next daily candle ripped up. And it really has been very bullish. Yesterday, Kanye was speaking, and that gave the pound a very strong pop to the upside. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this trendline resistance break, to be honest with you, and then test this high around here, these highs around here. So basically the June highs of the one spot 57.33 level. And yeah, let's say if it comes back down, so I'm just going to flip this to the 4 hour so it's a bit clearer to see. Then this fib could be an interesting one from the lows to these highs around here. So basically that's the low of that previous 50% that held. You can see the one I showed you on the daily there. So that's from that fib there. So that 50% bounce there. You extend your low to that dip. And then move your high up. So let's say if it tops around here, and that'd be a fib I'll be looking at. So that 50% comes in around the 1 spot 53 level. And yeah, that's pretty much it on the cable really, on the daily chart and the 4 hour. Dollar Swiss, very, very choppy chart again in terms of the overall daily chart. But for me, it's still very interesting to keep in mind the context on this. This big fib here, it's all about the 78.6 level. Currently we've already pierced this level today, which is at 0 spot 91.95. You can see around here in June, we had 4 candles pierce below and close above, and it really rotated higher. So keep an eye on the daily candle close today. If we get a nice reversal candle, or just to close above, then I wouldn't be surprised to see that rotate higher in towards that 61.8% level. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised to see it act as resistance like it did with that candle spike there. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. That's pretty much all for the dollar Swiss really. I mean, let's say it does bounce up off of this level, you can then look at this fib here, from those highs to that low there. And see what happens around that 50%. Also some previous resistance around there as well, and also you've got these moving averages as well, but that may be for next week's video, that one, to keep an eye on that. Dollar yen, I've left this dollar yen chart the same as last week. It's just been floating down really off of that trendline resistance we spoke about last week, and the key level is this 94.00 level. See what happens at that. We had key support which was holding for a while. Well, briefly, there's a few daily candles you can see at the 97.70s, let's say, and that held briefly, and we've broken down. So it looks like it wants to come down to this 94 handle. So if it does come down here by the end of the week, then see what happens. There was also previous resistance around here as well, but that's definitely, you can see that big support and the 94 handle, and also the 200-day moving average is just above it. Currencies do like to come down to their moving averages, I think, and it looks like it wants to come down to this 200 days. So see the reaction around that. If it closes below, then the 94 handle will be in play, I think. Dollar CAD, this is the weekly chart. I've just left that trendline support up just for a bit of context there. The daily chart, you have a smaller trend line here, and also this is a key fib level, I think. Yes, that coincided. You can see that trendline support coincided with this 61.8% retracement. You said a nice bit of confluence there, trendline support and 61.8, and that is just rotating higher. Now we've closed above the 50-day moving average. And it looks like it just wants to grind higher, in my opinion. But if it does get capped and it wants to come back down to the bigger trendline support around here, then this fib up here will get sold off. And surprise, surprise, it's currently getting sold off at the 50%, which also coincides with this previous resistance around here to your left. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that get held and come back down. So the next few days will be interesting to see how it reacts to this level. And if it does get held and these lows get taken out, then it's all about the 200-day moving average and the trendline support here. So a couple of interesting setups there in play. You have the long fib and the short setup there in play. Let's have a look at the Aussie. Aussie's just continuing to be sold off, but the last few days it has started to grind higher. Looks like it may want to come up to this 50-day moving average like it did previously around here. But if you flip it to the 4-hour chart, you have a very interesting fib setup going on at the minute. From that key swing high there at the 0.9317 to the low at 0.8845, this 50% level. It's already tested this in the previous 4-hour candle. It came up, spiked, a slight reversal there, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this one sell off. Also, this sort of coincides with these lows around here as well. You see that 4-hour candle spiked there. That would have been yesterday, and it sold off a bit, but it's come back up, closed above that, and is now. It's all about this 50% level. See what happens here. Also, keep an eye on the daily close. That'll be interesting. If it closes below, then I wouldn't be surprised to see those sellers come back in. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it is still very, very bearish, this chart in the longer term picture. But I always think they do like to come. It does. Currencies do like to come and test their moving averages, and you can see it does look like it wants to grind higher. So it'll be very, very interesting to see that. It's all about that fib. If it closes above that 50%, then it will grind up to the 61.8. I would have thought, and just test that 50%. So it's all about daily close today, I think, on that one. That's done for the forex. Gold, not a massively interesting chart. I've just left that trend line up from last week that broke. So let's see if it comes back down to see if this trend line resistance will act as support. Keep an eye on the price action for that. And if we zoom in a little bit on this chart, this fib here from the lows to the highs, that could act as a nice bit of confluence there, so you could get a nice trend line support, and maybe the 61.8% or 78.6 confluence there. So keep an eye on the price action on that, but that's all I'm really interested in on gold, to be honest with you. Okay, that's all for today. I hope you found that video useful. If there's any other pairs that you want me to go through next week, then feel free to comment under the YouTube video, which I'll post on, or our Twitter feed, which is at AGM Markets. Hope you found that useful. Have a great rest of the week trading, and I'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening.